Are we live? Okay, I think we are. All right. Good morning. I really want to talk about antigens, antibody issues this morning, just briefly before I disappear again. Antigen antibodies, or majorly antibodies, and some other issues. I think it has become important because of some recent continued arguments concerning incidence of COVID-19 antibodies against some specific against COVID-19. I think there's some arguments from CDC and some scientists about whether antibodies should be used as antibody quantification should be used as a yardstick to actually measure the immune response of people who are vaccinated against COVID-19. Okay, so one of the issues that we are having is that people don't actually know the basis of these talks, so I'll quickly just point it out so that we can just proceed. Now, antibodies are part of what we call part of the adaptive immune system of the body. They are actually synthesized, or they are actually produced in response to what we refer to as antigens. Now, antigens they are completely different. We have antigens are any substances that immune system produce a response against. So we have a lot of antigens in our environment. Most of the time when you are sneezing continuously, the antigen that you're probably responding to is actually a dust. But that's not the antigens we are talking about here. We are talking about antigens that are in form of disease-causing agents, viruses, bacteria, and the likes. So now, antibodies are synthesized immediately the body encounters an antigen. So let's say a virus just gain access into a body, or let's say a bacterium gain access into a body. The first thing that will be done, of course, we have some immediate immune response that will be mounted against it, but over time, the adaptive immune system will respond by synthesizing antibodies against that disease-causing agent. Now, these antibodies, they are highly specific, very specific. The one being synthesized against, let's say, virus A is always different from the one being synthesized against virus B. The reason why it is called adaptive is because each response is adapted towards the kind of agent that is coming in towards each antigen. So in most cases, we have when the body encounters a new antigen, a new disease-causing agent, it goes to the adaptive immune responses and they synthesize this agent to attack it. Now, what this agent does, what these antibodies, what they do is to mediate. They mobilize the body immune system, the other part, the chemical part. We have a lot of destructive chemicals in the body against any invading antigen. So the body just synthesize, the body just bring up this, what they call it, these antibodies, and these antibodies decide to mediate and mobilize all these disease-fighting agents, and then they attack this disease-fighting agent. Now, there are ways in which we can quantify it. We can quantify the immune system, the antibodies that we have in the body. We can also quantify the types. And probably in most cases we have two types actually. No, we have 5 types of antibodies. We have antibody A, E, G. They always refer to them as Ig. That's immunoglobulin. So now the reason why I need to do this is because if you go through your maybe if you just type antibodies on Google these days, they are going to bring up a lot of issues concerning COVID-19. Now, there are some studies that have indicated that most of the immune responses towards the vaccine that we are being given cannot be measured using antibodies generation by the body. it is quite controversial. I don't want to actually say anything that may oppose or should I call it, may cause any controversy around, but it's from my interactions with my recent interaction with other scientists in this field, I think we are having issues concerning the lack of quantification of antibodies from those who are yet to receive the vaccine and those who are already received the vaccines. The reactions has been varied. Most of those I've spoken to talked about having a very serious reaction to the vaccination, and then they're trying to link it with the fact that they are already positive antibody-wise. They are already positive for these COVID-19 antibodies before they eventually go for the vaccination. Now, let me quickly explain what I mean by being positive. Now, if you check your body for any antibodies against a particular disease at a point in time, it's either you're positive for it or you are negative for it. I think I mentioned something like that when on somebody's page concerning hepatitis B. If you want to take vaccination for hepatitis B, for instance, it is mandatory, extremely mandatory, that you have to go and do a test, a serological test. That's what we call antibody test, serological test. A serological test, whether you are having the antibodies against hepatitis B at that moment or not. If you are having antibodies against hepatitis B, they will tell you you can't take the vaccine. It's as simple as that, because they believe that you are already positive for the antibodies. Your immune system is already active against that particular virus. Now, from what I've been able to see, this doesn't really apply. This doesn't really apply to COVID-19, and that's a little bit. I won't call it controversial because it's a little bit confusing. If this particular test has been done for other viruses, why not for COVID-19? Because the stuff is, we are having people who are reacting to the vaccination in serious manners because they already possess the antibodies against the virus. Now, like I said, I don't want to be quoted or unquoted because it's actually a very sensitive issue, but in a few days' time, I'm partnering with some labs and in running COVID-19 tests, either for DNA testing or for antibody testing, and eventually we are going to roll out those programs very soon. Some of them are going to be free, some of them are going to be paid for, but I only need you to actually, should I call it, I need you to sensitize yourself in time against when this thing will be happening. If I believe I'm positive for the antibodies against COVID-19, number one, why should I continue to take the vaccine? Then secondly, should I take both doses of the vaccine? And thirdly, what's the quantity of antibodies within me that would lead to, should I call it, adverse reaction, so that it won't be as if I'm shooting myself in the foot again. So I just need you to digest this. Maybe later I will provide much more information, then we'll be able to discuss more. So see you around, okay? Bye.